Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mr. Bryce, and we're on page 41 of our review packet for the Regents exam. And this is a typical Regents question. A smaller rectangle is centered within a larger rectangle, such that the shaded area is created as shown. So the shaded area is this area here. Both dimensions of the rectangle are shown in terms of x. Determine the area of the larger rectangle as a trinomial in terms of x. Okay, the larger one has a length and a width. Remember, area is length times width. So x plus 3 times 2x plus 7 equals the area. But it said write it as a trinomial. So you can either do the rainbow method. I prefer the area model. So we're writing notes on this. If you're ahead of me, fantastic. And I'll put x plus 3 on top and 2x plus 7 on the side. And in here goes the 2x times the x, which is 2x squared. This is 6x because we do 2x times 3. Now we do 7 times the x and the 21. This is all review. So we have the 2x squared. And then we combine the 6x and the 7x to get positive 13x. And then we have the plus 21 equals the area. And that is a trinomial. Determine the area of the smaller rectangle as a trinomial. So we have x minus 5 and x plus 3. Now, if you didn't understand, we have x times x goes in this box. X times negative 5 goes into that box. X squared minus 5x. Then x times 3 goes here, and 3 times negative 5 goes there. And after I combined all the like terms, that's what we got. Find the area of the shaded region as a trinomial in terms of x. What does that mean? Very simply, to find this shaded region, all I do is I get the big minus the small. It looks like I took a pair of scissors and I cut out this center part. Cut out that, so it looks like a window frame. So it's the big, the larger one, minus the smaller one. So I put the larger on top and I subtract them. Now remember, when I'm subtracting them, I'm subtracting each part. So it's helpful to put a rectangle around each part there. 2x squared minus x squared is 1x squared. Then 13 minus negative 2 is positive 15x. Then we have 21 minus negative 15 is positive 36. And that is the area of the shaded region. The area of the shaded region can be written as a product of a binomial, x plus 3, and what other binomial? Show how you arrived at your answer. So this is what it's asking. It says, I have x plus 3 times what equals the area. Now, if I notice that here's a 3 and there's a 36, I can put something here. Again, we think what two numbers multiply to be 36 and add up to 15? What two numbers multiply to be 36 and add up to 15? Because this is a 1 here. 3 times 12. Oh yeah, 3 and 12. They multiply to be 36 and they add up to be 15. Explain how you arrived at your answer. You could say, I used product sum. You know, the product is 36 and the sum is 15. You can say I used the x, a times c, and this is b, what multiplies to be 36 and adds up to 15. Lots of different ways you can explain yourself. We're going to skip number 21. Page forward. Oh, look, a polar bear in a snowstorm with his eyes closed. And now we're on Unit 8, Quadratic Functions and their Algebra. And this is going to be review questions for the Regents exam. So let's listen to me for a second. The quadratic function shown below, what are the coordinates of the vertex? A vertex is where something changes direction. A vertex is where something changes direction. A vertex is where something changes direction. So here, there's a vertex, and it wants you to find the coordinates. Hit pause now and find your answer. Okay, here's the y-axis, and here's the x-axis. There is the vertex. The x value is 3. The y value is 6. 3, 6 is the correct answer. Number 2, a quadratic function has selected values shown in the table below. If it's domain, raise your hand if you know what domain means. Domain is the x values. Domain is the input. Which of the following represents the range of this? Range is not domain. Raise your hand if you know what range is. Range is the y value or the output. Which of the following represents the range? Circle your answer. Okay, who knows what the proper choice is? What's the right answer? If you notice, we're looking at the y values. We have 7 and 7, 10 and 10 match up. 6 is the lowest number. Now, do you think that this keeps on going? I do. You think it keeps on going? I do. So the smallest number is 6. Not 1, because that's not the smallest number. Oh, 6 is the smallest number. 6 is the smallest number. No, 6 is the biggest number for that one, so that's wrong. Now, we just have to think, does it keep on going or does it stop at 15? No, it keeps on going because the domain is all real numbers, not just some of the real numbers, all the real numbers, so that means it keeps going. Question number 3, which of the following quadratic functions has a maximum value of 16? I'm going to hit pause and you tell me which one you think is the correct answer. Hopefully use a strategy. If you didn't use a strategy, then try again. The strategy that I want is for you to go to y equals and type in these equations and take a look at the graph. We want a maximum value. Try again. Okay, if you didn't know what maximum value meant, it means the highest. Now that you've taken a look at these, this one has the highest value. It looks like that. All of these, 1, 2, and 3, look like that. It has the highest value at 16 for the y, for the range. Which of the following could be the equation, the quadratic equation shown below? Explain your reasoning. Let's hear some ways of how to solve this. Hopefully you said use your graphing calculator. We're going to take a look at all of these graphs. 1 is wrong. It's a frown. 3 is wrong. It's a frown. It says explain your reasoning. That's why you're writing this down. Now, it's up to number 2 and number 4. By the way, I know it's a frown without even using my graphing calculator because there's a negative number there as the leading coefficient of x squared. It's negative, it's going to be a frown. If you're a negative person, you're going to be frowning and you're going to see a lot of frowns. So that's why it's negative, it's a frown. Smiley faces, number 2 and number 4. Now, when we take a look, number 2 crosses the y-axis above the x-axis. Okay, it looks like that. It crosses it above. This one crosses below the x-axis. So this is what we call the y-intercept. Great, now let's see what's next. This is an interesting old style question. The quadratic function f of x has 1, 0 at -5. So I'm going to call that -5. And has a turning point at 3, 10. 1, 2, 3, positive 10. Way up there. What's the value of the other 0? Okay. It has to cross, has 1, 0 at -5. Since it says it has a 0, it has to cross the x-axis and hit this point up here as a turning point. Turning is going to be halfway. So -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0. 1, 2, 3. That's halfway. Count the spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spaces. 8 spaces is halfway at 3. So we got to go 8 more. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So the next turning point is at 11. Or not, the next 0 is at 11. The turning point, or the vertex, is going to be halfway between the zeros. Let's write that down. The turning point is halfway between the zeros. That's why I like using someone else's worksheet for review, because ideas pop up that you didn't think about before. 2 ways to answer this question. Which of the following is the turning point of the function? You go ahead, hit pause, and answer this question. Most of you probably graphed it. You could have gone 8 to the right and down 2. Remember when we talked about absolute value? Opposite direction of inside the parentheses. That means I got to go 8 to the right. Same direction as outside the parentheses. That means I've got to go down 2. 8 to the right, a shift of the function. 8 to the right in the x value, down 2 in the y value. Remember the whole absolute value minus 2. Absolute value minus 8 inside parentheses, minus 2. Okay. Number 7. Which of the following represents the range of the function? Domain, range, 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 output. Those are the y values. Go ahead, answer the question. Hopefully you noticed every single one of these choices. Oh no, I'm not circling the right choice. I'm just putting a rectangle around. Every single one of the choices had a y. So we're looking at the y column when we plug this into the equation. Did you remember the negative? I believe the answer is this one. You tell me on Friday if I was right or wrong. The quadratic function y equals x squared minus 8x plus 7 can be written as what? Bingo. I'm going to give you a clue. Complete the square. This is going to take you a while to complete the square. So go ahead, complete the square on this one, and then hit play. So maybe you needed a hint. AB, half of B squared. There's your hint. Go ahead and complete the square. Hit pause. Okay, so I wrote down the equation equaling 0. Then I took half of b squared. Actually, I took the 7, moved it over to that side, so it's -7. Took half of b squared, 16 in there, added it to both sides, the additive property of equality. Now I have this. Now, the last step, hopefully you finished it on your own, is x plus half of b. Since half of b is -4, I can be x minus 4 squared equals 9. That's none of our choices. Why is it that one? Oh, they just moved the 9 over. X minus 4 squared minus 9 equals 0 or equals y. Now I told you completing the square is always going to be on the test. So make sure you know how to complete the square. Think of a strategy to answer number 9. If a quadratic function f of x equals x squared is graphed below, along with a quadratic function g of x, which of the following could be the correct equation for g of x? Talk to the person next to you about a strategy on how to do this. I'll give you about 30 seconds. Go ahead, hit pause. Okay, does anyone want to share what their idea was? Now let's take a look at this. Hopefully you said, I'm going to use my graphing calculator and graph that. And then I'm going to plug that one in. And it looks like that. Wrong. Now I'm going to plug that one in. That's x squared. That's -2x squared. Very good possibility. Let's just check one more. Let's check number 4. That's x squared. That's -1/2 x squared. Nope. This one definitely looks skinnier to me. So number 2 is the correct answer. Next page. I am not going to give you the answers for this page because this is homework. So complete it for homework.